Hey everyone, it's Ryder from Skip. It's Monday, March 15th. I hope you're doing well and you had a great weekend. Very quick video update today on some important news regarding the stimulus check progress, who's received the checks, who's still waiting. Many of you, of course, have reported receiving your checks over the weekend. I'm going to talk about that and what we can expect in terms of batches. Biden made an announcement this morning on his plan for stimulus check distribution, so that'll help give some insight as well. A quick recap of targeted EIDL grant and PPP loan news, especially for all of you still waiting, which is many of you. And I'm going to answer this question, will the PPP be extended? Plus, I'm going to answer on a dozen of your questions from YouTube comments. You know, we receive hundreds of comments each video, and our team went through them all. We filtered through all the spam comments, and I'm going to answer a few of them today. I know a lot of these are pressing for you, so I'm going to do my best to answer questions. So even if you didn't ask it, I think these will help. As always, thank you so much for subscribing and supporting our channel. Tomorrow, we are going to pick our giveaway winners. We usually do it every Monday, but we're going to do an extra day because we'll be able to pick more winners if we wait one more day. Every subscriber of this channel is entered to win one of our $100 grants. We will at least pick 10 winners tomorrow. But for every 100 subscribers, we give away $100. So if we get 500 more subscribers today, we will pick 15 winners tomorrow. So be sure to subscribe and then get our free app in the App Store. It's at Hello Skip. Here's the poll we started on Saturday, and this has been consistent across our channels. 15% of you have received your stimulus check. 85% of you are still waiting. And by received, for many of you, this is also considered pending. Your banks may have said pending until Wednesday. We did the same exact poll on our Instagram and we found the same thing, 15% of you. So I feel confident to say that around 15% of the American population has received a direct payment. That's very fast. This bill was just signed into law last Thursday. By the way, if you want to follow us on Instagram, we're at hello.skip. We often do polls here that we don't do on YouTube as well, so keep your eye out for those. Here's what Biden said this morning. He said that his administration was on pace to achieve two key goals by March 25th. Number one, the distribution of 100 million shots of COVID-19. And number two, 100 million stimulus payments under this economic relief bill, the one that he signed last Thursday. Shots in arms and money in pockets, that's important. That's what Biden said today in a brief address from the White House. He also introduced Gene Sperling, a longtime Democratic policy aide, as his pick to oversee implementation of the $1.9 trillion economic relief package that he signed into law late last week. So since we did have around 10% of our subscribers not in favor of this bill, I just want to point this out, that Biden did say this morning that he vowed to bring fastidious oversight to the spending in the relief bill in order to ensure it is distributed quickly and equitably. For many of you, this was your main concern. You did not want this amount of money being spent poorly, going to the wrong things, etc. So anyway, that's the promise. He praised Mr. Sperling and said Sperling would be, quote, a source of constant communication, a source of guidance and support, and above all, a source of accountability for all of us to get the job done. We have to prove to the American people that their government can deliver for them and that we can do it without waste or fraud. That's key. So there you have it. That's the news from the White House this morning. I do believe there will be more cohorts of stimulus checks being distributed this week, so stay tuned for that. So if you are still waiting, I hope it hits your bank account this week or in the next couple weeks. Now, every signal we've seen is that the PPP will be extended. However, as of now, it is set to expire on March 31st. Many of you are still waiting. I think around a third of you, based on the last data I looked at, around a third of you are still waiting for a PPP decision. And in most cases, it's with the SBA, and the lender you've gone through is waiting for the SBA to get back to your lender. If you still want to apply and you haven't, of course, go to pppbonus.com. That's one of our partners, Funding Circle, or trackpploan.com. That's our other partner, Bluevine. You can try both those applications. They take around 5 minutes. Most of you have already applied. Finally, I'm going to answer a few questions because we have so many great questions. Okay, so these questions I'm about to answer are in no particular order. They're just some of the comments from the last several videos. If you've been waiting to hear back from one of your PPP lenders, is it okay to apply with another lender? The answer is yes. You can apply with as many lenders as you want. There are safeguards in place. Basically, whichever lender gets to the SBA first, the SBA will issue a number back to the lender, and right before they do that, they'll check to make sure they didn't approve you anywhere else. So you can apply with other lenders. The 3.5 multiplier for restaurants in PPP round 2, I believe, is just for PPP round 2. It's not retroactive for the first PPP, only for the new PPP. Someone asks if they made a mistake on the EIDL application, should they go back and correct it? Will that affect where they are in the queue? In this case, you put down your wrong date of birth. I would call the SBA in this case because they'll be able to look up your application number and make a note. and any loan officer that reviews that application will be able to see the corrected information as opposed to resubmitting a new application. So in that case, I would call the SBA if you need to change any information on your previous EIDL application. Here's a great question regarding the additional $5,000. Just to recap, in the new stimulus package, the $1.9 trillion, there is $15 billion set aside for additional EIDL funding. $5 billion of that is to basically increase the total EIDL amounts. Basically give out $5,000 extra dollars to the hardest hit businesses. As of now, since this bill was just signed into law, we don't know the rules. I can only assume the SBA will do a similar process as this time with the targeted EIDL grants, where they will basically figure out the formula, they'll release the rules, then they will email you. Because they have a database of everyone who's applied for an EIDL grant, they will know who to target, who may qualify, and they'll email you directly. So I can only assume they're going to do the same thing this time. So unfortunately, it's going to be another waiting game. I assume maybe in a few weeks we will start to find out. Again, the law says they have a certain period of time to make the rules. It's usually a couple weeks. If we find out anything on this extra $5,000 on targeted EIDL grants, as soon as we know, I will report on it here. So certainly if you think you may qualify for the extra $5,000 because you are in a low-income community and you've suffered a large economic loss, be sure to subscribe. Someone asked why they're getting a check instead of direct deposit. I assume this is for stimulus checks. What I would do is go to irs.gov because you can check your payment information, how they're paying you, and you can add in your payment information. If you've done all that and you're still getting paper checks, I would try to call the IRS to see what's going on, just to ask them what information they have for you on file and why they're not sending you a direct deposit. Several questions regarding the EIDL grant versus the EIDL loan, because many of you received the loan, but you haven't gotten any grant money. And that's normal. Just because you got the loan does not mean you are entitled to grant money. The main case last year was when the EIDL grant, $20 billion, was used up. They didn't have any more grant money. So basically, if you applied online, the only offer you got was EIDL loans. Now, what the SBA has said is that they will go back and review, first giving priority to the people who received partial EIDL grants last year. Then the second priority will be people who applied but never received anything. Now, if you're watching this video and you received the loan and you've gotten the targeted EIDL grant, I would love to hear in the comments about that situation, and assuming that you're still waiting for that targeted EIDL grant money, but I'd love to hear in the comments. A few folks asking how they can spend their EIDL grants. It's basically to support your business. Now check the rules yourself. This video is for informational purposes only, but it is much less strict than the PPP, which has requirements on how to use the funds. EIDL is broader. Now on your SBA portal, a few of you have asked if you see the submit for processing button, should you click it? Yes, you should. It's a confusing system because you may have signed your tax document, but you didn't see that submit for processing because it may not have been there. But if you go back in a second time, you'll see a submit for processing button, which may not have been there before. Anyway, click that button to make sure that your information gets to the SBA and they can review your targeted EIDL grant application, and knock on wood, pick up speed on these approvals. Regarding first and second PPP loan, you cannot apply for a second PPP loan before you've received funds for the first one. This is what we heard from a couple of our lenders. Many of you are asking this, can you go back to back, boom, boom? You have to wait until you've received money from the first one, have a plan to use it, then apply for a second one. And I'm going to be answering more questions tomorrow, but I'll leave it there today. Again, as soon as we know information about this extra $5,000 EIDL grant money, I'll let you know. We will also post progress on our app, trackeidlgrant.com. If you use that link, you'll also get a $10 credit. Feel free to follow us on Instagram for more updates, hello.skip, and tomorrow is our giveaway, so stay tuned for that. As always, thank you so much. Stay well, stay healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow.